Hey guys, so after the video I made the other day about the Backrooms movie, it got me thinking about how I was surprised that Iron Lung would not end up being my favourite movie of this year. I didn't think that would happen, but I think the Backrooms does slightly edge it out in that respect. But something that happened, funnily enough, I think it was that day as well. Mark uploaded a video saying that Iron Lung was now going to be available to watch on YouTube in certain countries, but luckily the UK was one of them. So I bought it. It was only £8, so you know, pretty good. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet because I've been a little bit busy the last couple of days, but I'm going to try and watch it tonight. As with the Backrooms movie, a lot of people when Iron Lung came out were, you know, suddenly movie critics, which I think is a bit unfair. Obviously it's not a perfect film, you know, independent director, self-funded, you know, it's not going to be perfect, but it was pretty damn good for what it was. And it was just a pretty good movie overall as well, I thought. Like, I think the biggest complaint I remember seeing about Iron Lung was the fact that it was quite long, or it felt like it dragged out quite a bit, and that people thought it should have been shorter, but I don't think so. Yeah, I completely disagree with that, because I think it's meant to be a slow burn horror film. That's what it's designed to be, and I think it does that very well. I think the similar thing applies to the Backrooms as well. People were saying it felt a bit long and that it didn't need to be as stretched out. It could have been more condensed, but in both cases I think people are just missing the point. I don't know if it's just because the average person has like shorter attention span than at any point before, or whether it's just that the two people that made these movies, having come from YouTube, people are used to shorter videos, I guess. I don't really know, but yeah, especially with Iron Lung, I didn't see it like the day it came out. I was like a bit busy, so I saw it like a few days after it came out, and so I'd seen, obviously no spoilers, but I'd seen people talking about how it felt really long and it dragged on and it could have been like easily half an hour shorter. And I went into it knowing that, and at no point did I like work out what part of the film they were talking about. Like, none of it seemed like long or boring or stretched out to me. I thought it was all completely fine. You know, if anything, I'd say it was pretty well paced. I thought it didn't seem to drag on at all at any point. It didn't seem too fast, too slow. I thought it was extremely well done. And I think the slow burn, the build up of like very slightly increasing dread or terror or horror or whatever each time, I thought that worked really, really well. And I thought it was very effective. And because it works that well, you know, I know that's how it must have been intended. It was obviously thought out specifically like that to have that effect. And I know the Backrooms would have been the same as well. They're both like slow burn, not jump scare horror. And, you know, every now and again there were a couple of jump scares in the Backrooms. I don't think there are really any major ones at all in Iron Lung. But it doesn't need them, because horror is not just jump scares, it's more than that. I don't know if people are just like losing sight of the modern pacing of films, the fact that things don't need to be really fast and action-packed the whole time. I'm not sure. But yeah, like I said, I think people are kind of missing the sort of the purpose of both of the films. Certainly people who are criticising the pacing, because that was the biggest thing certainly I saw with Iron Lung. And I mean, with the Backrooms, the people that are criticising it just don't really seem to be liking it for no reason. There doesn't seem to be a reason for that, which is even less valid. Like, at least have a reason, even if the reason can be debunked. And yeah, again, the Backrooms is not quite the same, because it was, you know, obviously young first-time director, but working with a movie studio, whereas Iron Lung was completely like self-financed, self-produced. And so it's different in that respect. And if anything, that does make me have even more respect for Iron Lung, because, you know, Mark and, you know, the people that he got in touch with, they had to do it all themselves. With like, no, I'm not going to say no professional backing, because obviously the people that worked on the film are professionals in some field or other. But like the overall leadership of the project was pretty much like just Mark, and that the fact that he had to, you know, come up with the idea himself, like theorize like how they were going to make the set work. And that's another thing, the fact that the whole film is set in this tiny room basically, and you get to see little bits of the outside of it, but the fact that it's so constrained, I guess, by the budget to the location, that is also really impressive, because the range of events that they managed to convey despite being, you know, stuck with that location is really impressive. And another thing that people have said was that it was a little bit difficult to separate, Markiplier from Mark being an actor and being in like a different character, I suppose. And I did get that a little bit. I mean, I certainly probably haven't watched as much of Mark's stuff as a lot of people have, but I do think he did, pretty reasonably well as an actor. And obviously, this is not the first time he's acted in stuff. He's done like Who Killed Markiplier and Heist and Space and all of those, and also other projects as well. So he's not like completely new to it. So I think he did a perfectly decent job of it. And I think the last thing I'll say on, both films actually, is that I think I did get quite lucky going into each of them, because for Iron Lung, I went in without like having any previous context. Like I didn't know the premise of the game, so I didn't know what to expect. I didn't have any context behind it at all, and that's probably why to me the pacing felt completely fine, because the bit that people said like dragged on, they said was like kind of similar to the game, which of course I haven't played before, so I didn't know that. And so all of this stuff that people said dragged was still new to me, and so it was fine. Like it made sense to me. Like I didn't feel the drag or anything like that. Whereas with Backrooms, I had gone into it knowing, a bit more of the lore, quite a bit of the context behind it, and I think that made it better. I think that made the experience better as well, because like the Backrooms, I guess again deliberately, is a film that leaves a lot of stuff unexplained, and even if you have seen the YouTube series, like it doesn't completely explain everything. I'd say it doesn't fully explain anything, even in conjunction with the film, to be honest, but you do get a little bit more context, and I do think that does elevate the experience of the film. So yeah, I definitely did get lucky with that, because I think I had the right amount of context going into both films to make them like equally enjoyable, and not like have me feeling like I didn't know enough or like I'd seen it all before. So yeah, I do really appreciate that about both films. So yeah, I'm very grateful to everyone that's worked on both films. They're both masterpieces, I would say. They're really, really, really enjoyable to watch. And so yeah, I'm going to go back home, watch Iron Lung at some point tonight, and know that I can enjoy it all over again. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.